What are you all still doing here? It's been 2 years. Oh well, I guess if you're going to hang around, let's have another episode, shall we?
The Age of Uncertainty podcast by Nigel. Agileversary.
Hi, and welcome to an extra special episode of the Age of Uncertainty podcast. This is all called the Agileversary. Now, this originally was all going to be about the 20th anniversary of the Agile Manifesto, written in February 2001. So it was due to come out in February 2021? Yeah, I'm a little bit behind schedule here. About 2 years behind schedule. So I've decided to change the episode up a little bit. It's an Agileversary? Oh, definitely. But an anniversary of the last 2 years of the life of me. Because you see, I stopped doing this podcast 2 years ago. Why? I loved it. I loved doing them. It was just a lot of work. And I mean a lot of work. Pretty much a full-time job. And of course, as you all know, I actually had a full-time job. And that really started back up again. The coaching, the training, the consultancy really started picking up again after that dead period of over 2020. And so I didn't really get the time to do this anymore. And so I just paused it temporarily to pick up some other work, and I'll come back to it the next month. Well, you all know, with any form of sprinting or any form of habitual work, when you take a break, that break often gets longer and longer and longer. And so here we are, 2 years later down the line, I've finally got another episode being created. However, what I wanted to do is just tell you what I've been doing over the last couple of years. I think it might be interesting, or at least it'll be interesting for me, at least. And so, what's been going on? So if we rewind to the start of 2021, what was going on then in the world of me? Well, what I had started to do was really start to consider that this video model may not be the best way to get some ideas across. I was having a lot of ideas that were not fully formed or fully fleshed out, or something I wanted to go to a lot of depth over, and I didn't feel a video format was really the best way for it. So I decided to journey even further back in time, and create a blog. Or more precisely, reinvent a blog I started back in 2009. And you're going to see a link for that right here. Or maybe there. But no, definitely there. A link for this blog. There's a load of posts on there for the last couple of years. Me writing in a slightly lower fidelity form than these videos. Ideas, concepts, things that have been going on in the world of Agile. Taking some of the stuff I've developed up in these earlier episodes and taking it into that longer form. Now, I've got to be frank with you. Some of them really are longer form. I think the first article I put in place about January 2021 was effectively 15,000 words, which isn't an article, it's a blooming book. But it's there for you if you're interested. There's a range of materials on there. Some of them I'm going to reference here in this video. So what else has been going on in my life apart from the big number one, the blog? Well, number two was I accidentally started an entire new movement in Agile. Now, you may think I'm self-aggrandizing there a little bit, and well, I am actually self-aggrandizing a bit, but at one of the Scrum Trainer events, one of our retreats in late 2020, I did put a bit of a challenging question to the Scrum Alliance Guide community, of which I'm a member, which is, what should be the next product the Scrum Alliance creates, and why should it be scaling? And so we had a little event there discussing where we could go with scaling, the ideas of large projects, the ideas of big domains, and what's going on in the current industry and how it's really not that fit for purpose at the moment. If you've watched my last video from 2 years ago, Safecracker, you can start seeing some of the cracks appearing in SAFe, the Scaled Agile framework there, and that's just getting worse and worse in the industry today. So there needs to be some work in this space. And actually what happened was, I attended that. It was lovely, a little workshop, a little open space session, and I was done. but the attendees of that workshop was not. People like Matt Roadnight, Colin Bird, other guides, they took on this work and they've been running with it for the last couple of years. At the last couple of Scrum gatherings, they've been starting to publish some of the work they've been doing for the Scrum Alliance and outside the Scrum Alliance, and it's starting to look really interesting. Now, this is not the video to deep dive into that, but what I'll try and do is in the comments section, put some links to some of the material that's out there, and hopefully you'll start seeing this start spreading more widely and becoming more publicized as it starts becoming a little bit more defined. So, congratulations me. What am I congratulating myself for again? So, what else has been going on in the world of Nigel? Well, this. Yes. For some reason, known only to myself, Paul Goddard, Jeff Watts, fellow Scrum trainers and coaches, we decided to do an Agile joke book. And so genuinely, this ate up a large portion of 2021 for me. Pun mastery. Agile jokes for Agile folks. Available in all good bookstores. Well, actually available on Amazon and pretty much only on Amazon. I'm a big fan of clever humour and well-constructed jokes. This is not that book. So this is basically, and some people, my favourite thing about this book, the effort we put in, publishing it, the sales we've had, is somehow some people get upset that the jokes are terrible. The jokes are supposed to be terrible. When you combine Agile jokes and us, we've ended up with a pretty interesting experience. 3 Agile coaches logged into a Zoom call, and out of that Zoom call came hundreds of Agile jokes. Jokes that were so bad they were actually good. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's false advertising. Some humour for you. Why do vampires make bad product owners? Why do vampires make bad product owners? Because they're terrified by their stakeholders. Why don't extreme programmers eat apples? Why don't extreme programmers eat apples? Because they only do pair programming. Pair programming. Look, pair programming. See? Pair. It's a pair. It's programming. Oh God, one more of these things. These are just... How does the product owner see the product backlog? With their prioritize? Prioritize? Oh, dear me. Why did the stupid Scrum Master throw away their exercise bike? They were told to reduce cycle time. Why did the Scrum team hire the Pink Panther? Why did the Scrum team hire the Pink Panther? Because he liked to get things done. Da-dun, 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 da-da-da-da-dun. So, there we go. In video advertising, feel free to buy a copy. It's not thick, thank heaven. But it was good fun making it. It was good fun writing it. And we did a bit of a publicity tour pushing it over the year. I think we ended up speaking in the middle of the midsummer. We ended up speaking at Agile 2021. Actually invited to speak at Agile 2021. It was online, of course. But we spoke about humour, all based around this and other forms. Improv, stand-up, etc., etc. And it was great fun. So even with a bit of fun, you can get some interesting things out. That was a lot of my 2021. Not sure I need this anymore. Because in the rest of 2021, I just did a lot of talks. You know, I've missed out all the work, you know, the training courses, the coaching, the consultancy. That was okay. But the talks always give me a great pleasure when I do them. We did them on a lot of that Nigel scale. Watch the previous videos. I would put a link up here or maybe there if I can be bothered. But Nigel scale, taking that to a deeper level again. But also I did a great presentation on collaboration tools. Because in lockdown, people were suddenly online. They were working remotely and they really wanted help. So I was asked by some clients of mine if I could put together a little 90-minute workshop. Now, I don't do things by half. And so what I did is end up spending weeks building this 90-minute workshop. But I did realise that I'm not actually a great fan of tools. I love collaboration. But I'm not really a great fan of tools. And I wasn't really sure I wanted to spend 90 minutes talking through how to create an issue in Jira. Life's too short. So what I actually did was I found a really interesting article by Alistair Coburn from literally 20 years ago about Agile tools. And he had a really different perspective of looking at it. And I used that perspective to talk through the various collaboration tools on the market. Again, made an article about it on the blog. I feel that's going to be the next video. And yeah, loads of talks. I talk at Agile Heroes, the Agile Virtual Summit, Adam Weisbart's great stuff that's been online over lockdown and has been continuing on afterwards. I even did an in-person talk in Zurich at an unconference, and that was wonderful. It was all about the agile transformation of myself. Because if you notice, I've got really slim. And so I slimmed off and I used Agile to do that, and I used myself as the transformational example. Except 18 months later, things have gone back to where they come from. I'm a big fat Nigel again. I really should do a second part to that presentation, because isn't that always how these transformations go? They start off great, things look great, and then we slip back into the past, into the status quo, into where we always used to be. That's so depressing. Maybe I need some more crisps. What's that noise? What's that noise? Is it another sales alarm? Because yes, always looking for an opportunity. Not only did we have the book last year, we even had the t-shirts of the books. So if you look around here now, ooh, floating graphics, ooh, you can see a range of t-shirts I put together and put on Redbubble, available to purchase. So if you wanted to bear your nerdiness loud and proud walking around the road, you could actually buy some t-shirts. And spoiler alert, people actually bought those t-shirts. My favourite one is, I'm not lazy, I'm just maximising the amount of work not done. I'll put a link here on the screen and a link down there in the chat box again, in the comment box, so you can see if you really want to buy some of these t-shirts, they're available for you. And then we come into 2022. Now, 2022 for me was evolved around two major topics. Well, 3 if you include work, and 4 if you include the family. 4 major topics. But the 2 I want to speak about here was I applied to become the CEO of the Scrum Alliance. You see, in 2021, there was lots of complaints, lots of concerns that the Scrum Alliance just wasn't going anywhere fast. And no output was coming. Lots of work was happening, but no value add to the transforming the world of work. And finally, the Scrum Alliance board decided there had to be a change. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to throw my hat in that ring. Well, first I'm going to buy a hat, then I'm going to take it and throw it in that ring. Maybe I could be the person to be the CEO of the Scrum Alliance and help transform the world of work. That turned out not to be true. I failed the paper sift quite quickly because I did not have any of the non-profit management experience they felt somehow was necessary for this. But what I did do was put together a deck of material of ideas I had to transform the Scrum Alliance and to just take it to that next step as an organisation. Is that another video? Maybe it is. But that led me on to the second major thing for me in 2022. Myself, Paul Goddard, Jeff Watts at the time, a few other people got together and said, look, there's something missing in the world of Agile, or something we felt was missing in the world of Agile. What the problem we were seeing was that things like the Scrum Alliance, non-profit, community-led organisation with the right spirit, but not delivering anything new or innovative in the market. The Agile Alliance, the bigger, the older non-profit, only developing this conference once a year and delivering nothing really else. And then you've got these for-profit fiefdoms around the world. Organisations like Scrum.org, Scrum Inc., Scaled Agile, for-profit businesses run to generate revenue for stakeholders, for shareholders, for venture capitalists. Now, some of these organisations were innovating, but not necessarily innovating in the directions I would like. And the problem was this: when new ideas were appearing, 1 or 2 people were having new ideas, these new ideas were just not getting traction in the market, the voices were too small. People weren't hearing these new ideas, so they faded away. Or worse, if the idea was getting a little bit of traction, they were being co-opted and incorporated into these larger organisations' portfolios, effectively writing out the creators and malforming the creation. A bit like the Borg from Star Trek, if you remember them.
Resistance is futile.
We felt there was something missing in the world, something in between those organisations, a place where people could go, effectively an incubator, a place where people could go, they could take their new ideas, they could develop their new ideas as products, as intellectual property perhaps, or maybe as actual training courses, maybe as videos, but somewhere they could go and perhaps commercialise it slightly, while still keeping ownership of their creations, yet somehow get publicity and publication behind those ideas. So after much work, much discussion, we came up with this idea of the Agile licensing library, ALL. And the idea of ALL was not to be the next Scrum Alliance or even replace the Scrum Alliance or the Agile Alliance. It was to be something complementary, something to the side that could support these organisations, building an environment, building a lab space where people could share their ideas, bring their ideas and self-publicise those, and then working together as a community, like a rainbow of creators, each give each other support and strength in those ideas, moving them into the marketplace, having a bit of commercials behind them, because you know what, as much as all of us moan about it, money makes the world go around. But without it being money being the driving factor and building bad products, doing bad things to good people even. And so this organisation we spent a lot of time on, a lot of time developing, writing process, coming up with material, designing brand, working with brand experts to try and build this sort of MVP, this minimum viable product of an organisation to give some traction in the marketplace. By the end of 2022, it's still small, it's still ideas, it's a few people working together. Will it explode into something in 2023? I just don't know. In the end, when principles and profit start getting in the way of each other, I think profit rises to the surface for a lot of people. Commercialization beyond character. And that's sad, that's really sad for me. But hopefully there will not be a need for something like the Agile licensing library as a community. But if there is a need for it, it's there, it's small and it's growing. And if you're interested, give me a shout. Drop a message in the chat box. You can come visit the website, Agile Licensing Library. It's available on the internet. You can see who's on there, who's not. This is not a sales pitch for that. There's not much to buy on that, to be honest. But the idea behind it, this idea of an incubator, a lab for people like us to come together and just sort of build a bit of an alliance, but a real alliance this time. I think that would be rather cool. So give myself or Paul Goddard a shout and we can talk you through anything if you're interested in it. And that effectively took me up to the end of 2022. That was the major big project in 2022. So where are we going from here at the end of this Nigel-versary, the Agile-versary? I'm hoping to produce a couple more videos before I get distracted onto something else again. Ooh, squirrels! I hope to be able to perhaps put together a video on that collaboration tools. I think there's a recording of the original presentation out there, but perhaps do a slightly better version of that and publish that on this channel. Maybe even if people are interested in the sort of direction the Scrum Alliance could have gone in or should have gone in. Who knows? I may even turn that into a video when the time comes. But we'll see. I can't promise to put many or any more videos on the channel beyond this one, but I did want to put something out this week. Hopefully this has been a bit of fun. Hopefully it's been a bit entertaining. Hopefully you could buy a t-shirt or a book or, I don't know, just visit the Agile Licensing Library and see what we're doing there and give me a shout on anything you would like to see on this channel. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Age of Uncertainty, whenever that may be. But have a lovely rest of the year, and I hope to see you all soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Next episode, back to the Agile collaboration tools future.